Well, here we go again. I am, as you know, trying to write a book about my mother. And I've been trying to keep it in a chronological order, but it's impossible. So what I've decided on this blog is to tell you some of the incidents that occurred that I remember and some that I was told of about my mother, Pasqualina di Felici. That was her name. Pauline is what everybody called her, the Americans, but the Italians, Pasqualina. So I'm going to tell you about little things that happened that I remember or somebody told me about, not in any special order. So first of all, I remember we were in church, Catholic church, of course, and they passed a collection plate around. And we were very, very poor. I mean, very poor. And I was maybe 7, 8, 6, I don't recall. But when they passed the collection plate around, my mother had like $1 and some change in her purse, and she put the dollar in the collection plate, or whatever they passed around to get the money. And I just was astounded. I mean, that could have bought us all kinds of goodies. So coming out of the church, the priest always stopped my mother to talk to her, Pasqualina, how you feel, everything okay, and so on. They were very nice to her. And I'm thinking, well, they should be. She just put $1 in the plate. But the thing was that I asked her, why did she do that? I said, Ma, you put $1 in the plate. She says, yes, I know. I said, well, why? She said, hey, the church needs money too. I said, yeah, but why $1? She says, because God is going to look after you, enemy. And I said, it doesn't make sense. She says, every time we need something, we get it, right? I said, yeah. She says, then shut up or you face. That was her favorite saying, too. I heard it many times. Shut up or you face. And so I couldn't believe it. But today, now, in these times, there's a Catholic church on West Street in Ashtabula, Ohio. It's around 43rd Street. It has a cornerstone. On that cornerstone it says, this land donated by Pasqualina di Felici. But it was Felix at that time, I guess. And in memory of Pasqualina. Or Pauline, I don't even remember the proper, unbelievable, to go from $1 in a plate, collection plate, to donating the land that the church was built on. So you can see what amazing things happened from that time to today. So it's things like this that I'm going to tell you about. And I'll tell you some of the funny stuff too that she, got involved with. One thing I remember is she would invite the priest to our house to have dinner. And I'm not a pure Catholic. I mean, I'm a Catholic, but not a good one. I'm not a bad one, but not a good one. But the priest used to come over, and my mother would fix a meal like you would pay a fortune for. And there would be like 3 priests at the table, and me and my mother. Sometimes my sisters were there, Anita and Tony, and sometimes my brother Frank and Timmy. Now Timmy's got like 3 different aliases, and we'll go into that another time. But we're there, but I was much older then. I mean, I was an adult. And we would talk religion, of course. And I don't believe there's a devil. I don't believe there's a devil anywhere. And the only reason why I don't believe that is because how could there be a devil if God is all powerful and all loving? Who's going to last being mean to that? Can't handle it. So these priests would sit at the table and we would talk religion. One time my mother got furious with me because I told the priest I didn't think saying God damn was a swear word. And they said, you're using the Lord's name in vain. And I said, no, because that sin or that commandment means you should not ask God to do some harm to somebody else. But if you bump your knee or something on a coffee table, you say, God damn it. To me, I'm not asking God to damn the table. I'm saying his name, but it's not in vain to me. So anyway, we got into this argument, me and 3 priests. My mother kept saying, shut up in your face. Shut up, and Nick, shut up. So the priest, when they left, and they loved their food, man. But when they left, they said, this has been a most amazing evening, the food and the conversation. And they appreciated my being candid about it. And they left. My mother, something else happened after that, but didn't concern my mother, so I'll tell you about that later. My mother was really upset, but she was living with me at that time in my house, and she respected living in my house. So she said, no more. Sit, eat, drink, no more with the priest. So I told her that I understood. And I said, did I embarrass you? She said, no, you're crazy. That's what embarrassed me. You're crazy. So my mother was very religious, as I told you, from the dollar in the collection plate to the church on West Avenue in Ashtabula. If you're anywhere in that area, check it out. You'll see her name right on the cornerstone of the church. And I'm going to tell you a bunch of stories, incidents that happened with my mother and the church and her religion and her beliefs. But that woman came from the mountains in Italy, and they believed in a lot of rituals. As you know, my mother prayed all the time. And I had an incident that occurred where we had Rosemary Clooney. Was at I've been in the movie business, by the way, and I've been hobnobbing with a lot of stars. But anyway, and Rosemary Clooney had a headache. and her son Miguel was there, and Dante, her boyfriend, and I don't know who else, but she had a headache, and she was telling my mother that she didn't feel good. My mother said, "I take care, sit down, sit down." So my mother had a ritual where she got a bowl of water. She would drop like 3 or 4 drops of olive oil in the water. She would get a knife, and she would start, it's almost like The Exorcist, she would start making crosses in the water. And the oil, you know, it's kind of one big blob, and it started breaking up into little pieces. And she would say this prayer. Then she would dip her thumb in the water, and she'd make the sign of the cross on Rosemary's forehead, like this. And she would say the prayer that she said in Italian, very low, so I couldn't hear nothing. And she would make the sign of the cross, dip her thumb, like that. And I was so embarrassed, because she's like using mystic power. So I apologized to Dante, and it was like me embarrassing her with the priest. But Rosemary said, "I feel great now." I don't know if she was being polite or whatever. But that happened. So I'll tell you, there's so many of them. I'll keep you up to date, but I can see that I ramble a lot, but you're going to hear it. But I got to write my book, and this is the only way I can do it, is remembering these incidents and then try to maybe get my brother and my sister, who are still alive and well, God bless us, and we'll get together and we'll check all this out, and you're going to read a heck of a book. So I'll see you later.